Um, and I was loving it, but it came with a lot of responsibility, like emotionally. Um, I kind of probably did a lot of it to escape my own stuff, kept very busy and helping others so that I didn't have to look at myself.
Welcome to the Soul Awakening Academy podcast series. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Mayers, and founder of Soul Awakening Academy. The stories you'll hear are from our master spiritual life coaches and energy healers, women who have gone to the brink of burnout and found the spark within themselves to turn their pain into their greatest purpose. So sit back, relax, maybe grab a pen and a piece of paper as we share their vulnerable stories of adversity to strength, and maybe you'll take some practical skills and strategies you can implement in your life now. And for a thank you, if you want to tap into your unique spiritual purpose, join the 3-part masterclass series below and let me help you find your level of greatness. So welcome, Ellen, one of my absolute all-time favourite students. You were one of my first ever trainee coaches
That's crazy.
back in the day when we did things in person, face to face. How crazy
Yeah,
is that?
madness.
So it's absolutely gorgeous to be able to interview you as part of a kind of inspiring week that we're having. Well, it's extended now, but just an influx of students that I personally know, and I know you to be inspirational in your field now. And this week is really about getting vulnerable. It's sharing our stories. It's helping people realize that no matter where they are, what they're going through, that this could be the catalyst and the turning point that leads them towards their greatness. So I'm just going to introduce you and let everybody know who you are and what you stand for. So Ellen Murray, and the theme is Grief to Greatness. Ellen is a mindset and empowerment coach specializing in supporting female leaders to thrive in their health, career, and life. So tell us a little bit about your story, Ellen, because I know you've got many, like us all, our lives are interwoven. It's not just one story that we carry, but what's the backstory that's led you here to do your work?
I think for me it is where to start really, but starting career, starting my own business in my early 20s and being so bloody driven and passionate about what I was doing. I've always been someone who, wants to help others and feels deeply and highly sensitive. And with that came this natural drive to work hard, support others, succeed. And my business grew and grew and grew. It was ladies boot camps, nutrition, um, and it grew to where we were supporting like 500 women at any one time. And I had a team of people, and it grew to probably what heights that I never imagined, with all these women, multi 6-figure business, which was never really something I'd even thought about. Um, and I was loving it, but it came with a lot of responsibility, like emotionally. Um, I kind of probably did a lot of it to escape my own stuff, kept very busy and helping others so that I didn't have to look at myself. And it was only when kids came along and I thought I could still work at that same pace. Um, and then lockdown came and it all came crashing down, all that running for years and busyness and drive to succeed. It was like it all, that pause from lockdown and from almost the universe going, right, you need to look at your stuff now. And out of nowhere, this like just stuff, all I can describe is it literally just came up, things from childhood that I've just not processed, dealt with, and started to have therapy. And I think it was that, like, that much emotion coming up and that almost that level of lifestyle that I'd lived so intense. I started to get physical symptoms in my body. And these had been creeping up for about a year prior to this. I'd gone straight back to work after having my second child, and every month I was like, covered in ulcers, sore throats, tonsillitis, but I just kept pushing and pushing, thinking, I've got all these people relying on me. I'm at the forefront of this business and I've got to be this energetic, positive person. And inside, like I was really struggling and I started to get bits of anxiety, which I've never fully experienced. And I was like, what is up with me? Because you think, I've got lovely family, I've got this successful business, I've got great people. And it was almost that guilt of, well, who are you to feel anxious and to feel like you need to slow down? Anyway, in lockdown, eventually, it was about 3 months into it, I got like a virus and it just did not go away. That feeling of flu and just being exhausted. And my children were 1 and 3 at the time, so it's a time where you need your energy. And anyway, after months of back and forth to the doctors, I got diagnosed with ME, which is chronic fatigue syndrome. And it was really from this person who'd had so much energy and drive to literally, just being able to get dressed was hard. Never mind look after the kids. Work just I just had to take a step back. And it was during that time that I realised like this isn't serving me anymore. Like this thing that is my whole identity is no longer working for me. My body's giving up. And it was during that time and lots of therapy that I made the decision I was going to have to close down that business, which was literally like my first baby. um, and with that came so much loss, so much grief. It was like it was our only income in the family because my husband worked in the business, was well known within the community and online. And it was just like, I just had to stop it. I had to put my own health needs and emotional needs first, which was very alien to me. There's a lot of change, there's a lot of fear within it of like, well, who am I if I'm not, the forefront of this and supporting others? Who am I? I'm a mum, I'm a wife, but that big part of me was missing. But it did lead me to go on a massive healing journey. First and forefront was my health. There was lots of grief for that, but it made me dig deep and go, I'm not accepting that the doctors say this is your life now. You'll have to just manage it. I was like, no, I'm gonna look at a different route to healing. So I explored lots of like holistic healing. Did some courses with you around spiritual healing. Um, Lots of somatic work, lots of nutritional therapy, psychotherapy, just loads of different avenues, Reiki, reflexology, you name it, I've done it.
Is it?
But it is so many pieces of a puzzle, and that's the thing with a chronic illness. It's not just your body's given up, it's very mind body related. Um, and it leads to so much grief, but so much change you have to make on the back of it. And being probably the proactive person I wasn't going to sit back and go, right, this is my life now. I was like, how can I still move forward with life, but in a complete different way? So I feel like I've had to change who I am, but I'm so grateful that I have, because that was not serving me. It was kind of driven from trauma
Yeah.
when I've unpicked it all. So yeah, I've been on this huge journey for like 3.5 years now. And along the way, it just made me realize that, this is my calling to help women who are like I was, who were abandoning themselves, to for what?
Mhm.
Because, it's usually a self-worth thing. Um, so that from the outside, these women are very successful, but inside they're really struggling and usually starting to display it in the body as well.
Love
So I
that.
get so much joy from being able to use my experience and all the coaching skills to, support them.
Yeah. And it was funny, isn't it? Because I was like the coaching skills itself are nothing without the experience that you've had personally.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Yeah, they'll help, of course they will. It's a technique, but the power behind them is the fact that when you're with a client, that client sits with you. The client's not underneath you, they're broken and you're the one who's going to fix them. It's like you're the expert because you've walked in their shoes.
Mm,
The way that you can hold someone is so powerful because of
mm.
your experiences.
It gives you that like next level of empathy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be the exact same thing because we all go through different things, don't we? But there's just something in that connects, isn't there, that you feel that energy and you think they connect to you because they know you understand it.
yeah. Like this person, this coach, this healer sees me, they hear me, and they feel me, and I can feel them in that way. That your presence is with them in the room, whether it's online or in person. You can still create that same container around them of energy, so they feel held, even
Mm.
when they're not with you in the session. When you've had a session with someone, they go about the day, they can still feel that space that you've created for them, with them.
Yeah, and I think that's the great power of coaching, isn't it? Or therapy. It's just that it's an energy thing and in that support.
100%. What would you say, like through everything, because it's such a powerful story and decision you had to make, and I know, we were in contact at the time and know how painful it was for you, and I've seen the journey that you've gone on. And look at you now, you think, crikey, you had that business, and everything that came with it, that responsibility, but also that feeling of identifying with it and being known and supporting all those women, to feeling like your world's crashing down. And now again, you've risen back up. I mean, what a sense of grit and resilience that you've got.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to recognise that, but it's funny, isn't it? Within yourself, you think, I didn't have any other option, but actually I did. I could have laid down and cried, and I did a lot of times. But yeah, you do have to recognise that within yourself,
You
which
do.
is hard, isn't it? When it's yourself, like it's easy for to someone else to say, but it is
It is.
important to recognise.
Yeah, it can be overlooked, let's say, by yourself, because you feel, well, this is just life. This is what you do, isn't it? No, it's not. We have options. So what you do is not necessarily what someone else would do. And if what
Yeah.
you've done is then gone on to your next level of greatness, which is actually more in line with who you have become now, in itself is like huge. It's
Mm,
huge because, it takes energy to come back
it does.
in the
And
way that you have.
I think when your energy is feels so limited as well, you really have to be mindful of your energy. I always just say like your energy is absolute priority. Looking after that is so key because when you've got energy, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. But without that energy, everything feels harder, doesn't it? Everything's a struggle.
Yeah, energy, willpower, and a sense of purpose, to give you the motivation to keep going. What would you say? Like, there's so much I want to ask you, but what would you say have been your greatest lessons through what you went through and where you are now, when you look back and go, wow, that was the greatest lesson or insight I had about myself?
I think there's probably a few. I think a big lesson is that you're only responsible for yourself and your children, but like you don't have to take responsibility for everybody else's happiness and how they're feeling. And as an empath, that is you have to be really conscious of when you're doing that and what you're carrying. But that has been a huge lesson of like actually, as long as I look after myself and the people are like nearest to me, I can still be that supportive, kind person, but without getting in the ditch with someone else. You can hold your hand out, but you don't have to get in with them.
That's
Um,
good.
and I think that's been a big lesson in terms of energy. But I think also the people pleaser within me, she's just gone out of the room. Like that was just so ingrained. And when you peel it back and you do all the work on yourself and the inner child, you realize where it's come from and a lot of things you've done to survive. But I feel like one of the big lessons for me is like you know, don't please others before yourself.
Mm. Yeah, I
Mm.
love that. It's a big lesson to learn, and it's such a good thing to remind people of, because it has been a theme with the women that I've interviewed. The people pleaser, self-confess, like big time. And it's like not knowing your boundaries. You don't have any boundaries really. Setting a
No.
boundary with someone is like, oh my God, they're gonna hate me, they're not gonna like me. Oh, that's it. It's hard to explain, but it's I know the feeling of being a people pleaser. It might not be exactly the same, but from my perspective, being a people pleaser to not being a people pleaser so much, or communicating in a different way, such a fucking journey to go on, and it's a skill to master and overcome and to try and embody all the time. It's yeah.
It is. It is, and it's, when it's been hardwired into you for years and years, it is a journey to change it. You don't wake up one day and go, I'm gonna let go of that people pleasing because it's not working for me. It's literally like changing the neural pathways, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, and it's interesting, from a little bit of experience I've had, when somebody is growing, and you might resonate with this, when you're kind of breaking through and you're about to grow, or you are growing, you can get backlash from people. There's just something in that little bit of like breaking away, moving on, moving up. People start to give you a little bit of grief and a little bit of backlash. And I don't
Mm.
know if maybe it brings something out in them, or I don't know what that weird kind of entanglement is. But did you experience anything like that where you were like stepping into the new version of Ellen?
I think like the people around me who love me were very supportive, albeit didn't always know what to do, because they'd never experienced like the
Yeah.
illness side. But I feel like wider people who perhaps been very supportive of my old business and old journey, it was like they'd just disappeared, and it was, I don't know, my world just shrunk. Um, and it made me realise that, those people who are there for you when it's all going well, they're not, it's lovely, but they're not your friends. Like you can't put your validation on those external people who are supporting you when times are good,
Yeah.
because when times are bad, they might not still be there. Only the people who truly matter will be there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
that's a good point again around people pleasing. It's like recognizing, okay, what is truly valuable to me? What are my values? Um, yeah, and also saying, I've been saying every interview is, whose life is it anyway?
Absolutely. And that's the thing, when you go through a really, big experience that's life changing, you really do ask yourself that question. And it's like, that was one of the biggest questions I was asking. That was one of the biggest things that helped me let go of some of that people pleasing. So I was
Yeah,
like, I'm the one who's in lots of pain here. They don't care anymore. They've gone off doing their own thing. Like, it's huge lessons, isn't it? And sometimes you have to go through something to learn that lesson.
100%. Yeah. Um, what impact are you now making in other people's lives, given, the experiences you've had, the training that you've had? What would you say like is the biggest impact you're making for people or helping people make?
I think for women, it's helping them realize that they are worthy of putting themselves first, of filling up their own cup, of experiencing joy day to day. Like, for example, a client I was working with this morning, there was so much guilt there for her for doing what she needs to do to thrive. It was like, as long as everyone else is okay, then I can look after myself. And it's really helping women work on that, like, belief system around that and that self-worth, and then actually putting things into place so that they feel they can do that, step by step. Because I find a lot of the women I work with, because they're quite high achievers, they get a plan and they want to go and do it straight away, all in a day. And I can resonate with that. And it's like breaking it down slowly and really working on self-compassion. That is the biggest piece, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure that was one of the greatest gifts that you had to bestow on yourself, is self-compassion when you were going through that.
Yeah, and it's still an ongoing journey, there still are days where I call it an ME day, but it soon passes with just nourishing, and that self-compassion.
Mm. If you were to wake up a billionaire tomorrow, what impact would you still want to have on the world?
It'd be the exact same. I'd still want to help women to know that they're enough to thrive, like to not go through life struggling. I feel like a big part of my purpose is helping women like ascend to that next level, um, and like almost connect to something a little bit bigger.
Mhm.
Like a lot of the time we go through life to a lot of people, and then they have this like almost awakening, and it's helping women to like widen that and reach something higher.
Yeah, yeah, taking
I'd
them.
still want to do that, like even with all the money in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. And last question, what do you feel training with the Soul Awakening? What's the impact training with Soul Awakening had on your life and in your business and your clients' lives?
Think for me, it was almost like that next level. Like I'd done a lot of therapy, but it was that next level of connecting that with the energetic body and being. So it's not just like this happened, it was like connecting that with how it's affected energy, the body, the mind, and how you can work on healing it. And I loved the like, being able to heal it energetically rather than just through talking. Like
Yeah.
you were healing on that next level. Um, and then with my clients, then I've been able to, work with the specific blocks that they've through their experiences.
Love that. I love getting to the root cause of things and unpacking it and then moving them forward with whatever tools that we have at the time that feels appropriate. So yeah, I love that. Um, what do you want your legacy to be now? You've got kids, things change. Things did change for you. You shifted, you went through this whole identity transformation, and now you're really empowering women. What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, big question that, isn't it?
Boom.
Do you know what? I think when it all boils down to it and I'm on my deathbed, I feel like, which I know sounds a bit doom and gloom, ultimately,
Away we go. Yeah.
uh, ultimately, the priority for me is that I've been a good mum and a good wife. Like that is always at my absolute forefront is family, and the impact I've had on them. But then if I just think that layer outwards, it is impacting women's lives in a positive way, whatever way that is, whether it is like coaching or movement or whatever that is, just empowering women.
Yeah, I love that. And like what like comes through for me when you're saying that, because I do resonate with the whole motherhood thing, because that's been a massive lesson for me. Um, is in a way you're teaching women how to mother themselves.
Yeah, that's so nice to look at it like that.
Yeah, because like mothering is nurturing. Naturally, mothers, obviously not everybody, but naturally mothers want to nurture, they want to care, they want to kind of create all about that vibe. And quite often when we're high achieving, we're not nurturing ourselves, we could be nurturing other people, but behind it there's a fear, and it's the lack of nurture that we is driving our behavior. So when you said that, I thought I resonate with that, because the mother thing, it's about accepting love and then being able to offer love back, and embodying that mother archetype, which takes care, but takes care of the self, because a mother can't look after her babies unless she is well first.
Absolutely. And I think this is where a lot of leaders, especially women, have got, I don't want to say have got wrong, but it's just the opposite way round, isn't it, for a lot of women? And it's like where you can feel it's changing, there's something rising, and women are like, oh, waking up to actually, I do really need to nurture myself if I want to
Yeah.
nurture others, work at this level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's something in that, because women have really shot off in the online space with the coaching and the healing and everything. That area has gone full pelt out there. And quite often to achieve, you do have to step into a different mindset and mentality, which can drive, you know, a different energy system. And then if you're mothers as well, or you've got partners, or everything, just, you know, we take on this role. It's not like we walk through the door and then we've got someone making our tea, someone running a bath for us. You know, we've got multifaceted roles as a woman.
Mm. And I think this is a big conversation, isn't it? Like that needs to be had more. Like it's amazing the opportunities women have now. Like they don't have to stay at home and be mothers to the children. They can do more. They can achieve great things. But actually, what's the cost of all that? You
Yeah.
know. And I do think we can have it all, but there needs to be more consciousness around how we do that.
Balance, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Because
Oh,
anything that we do, if we do it too excessively and there isn't a balance, can lead us to exhaustion, whether even that's having fun, you know, get exhausted if it's too much. So yeah, it's around balance. So it is another conversation because it's a massive topic.
it is, yeah, definitely. But I
Well,
think we're in this new era of it, aren't we? And it's skills we're all learning and
we are. Yeah, we are in this new era of women taking ownership, stepping into their power. But with that, there definitely needs to also be that level of self-care that they can build in. And sometimes women can't ask for that because
mm,
it's so stereotypical that the woman can do multiple roles. They can be that caregiver, but if they're building a business, which is quite masculine in an energetic sense, it requires a certain amount of energy, energy output rather than receiving energy, and then receiving to give. It's like it's where do we get our nourishment? And sometimes we can't say, "Oh, listen, I need a night off." Or you need to do that for me tonight. Or look, I just can't manage that right now. Gonna have to say no. You know, they've got that people pleaser as well. It's like, oh, where's it gonna go? So yeah, the skills that you offer to help women to be empowered, to be leaders, and to also nourish themselves is a
mm.
huge gift that you can bestow on people. So thank you so much for sharing this space with me, Alan. Truly honored to have you here. And like I say, I've seen your journey over the years, and you know that rise, that phoenix, that rise through the ashes to come back stronger and own who you are now and love it. You know, get purpose and meaning from it is
Oh,
amazing to see.
thank
Well
you.
done. My
Thank
pleasure.
you. And thanks so much for your part of the journey. Like I've loved all the trainings I've done with you and yeah, just inspiring.
So are you. Thank you so much. Take care, my love.
Oh,
Love.
take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.